And also, I just want to mention that Howard Dean has stated that that is in fact the case. If he's not wrong, please explain to me how this glaring omission reflects a bipartisan approach to reform.
Are you asking whether we have a bipartisan approach to reform, and are you also asking about companies who, through their lobbies, contribute to members? Is that the, I couldn't hear the first part. Tort reform.
My first question is about tort reform.
Okay.
Where is the tort reform?
In the bill, I don't believe that we deal with malpractice, litigation, and I don't believe that we deal with tort reform in that arena of malpractice, medical malpractice. There's probably a couple of reasons, and some of you know it, that back a few years ago, the McCarran-Ferguson Act gave the states, each state, the power to oversee the insurance companies. And they also prohibited the federal government from entering in to any of the states on the issue of tort reform or malpractice reform. And I'll stand corrected if Ike, if you say that's correct or not. It's correct. So, but the president was challenged the night that he was giving his speech, and he says, let's look at it. Let's look at it. It's my hope that the necessity for malpractice suits will be lessened through this reform. And well, I would hope that, you know, the idea that the patient and the doctor making the decisions for themselves would be respected and not be overturned by any other bodies that say we think we know better. And so I think that that would go a long way to do that.
Rusty Britt, are you here? There we go. It's Rusty Britt's turn to speak, sir. Maybe you'll get one later. Thank you.
I do believe that health care needs to be reformed, but I don't want the government being in charge of it. I don't need to remind you of the government's poor record managing the post office, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the DMV. What I ask you, Mr. Honda, is to start again and work on a health reform bill crafted by politicians from both parties, as well as insurance companies and doctors. Make a good bill and get it right the first time. There isn't a time deadline, and it doesn't have to be passed this year with plans for it not to begin until 4 years from now.
Thank you.
Yes.
The community has been slightly split in favor of reform, and I think that again, like the very first question, is that I'll be using my judgment also on the information that I get. When you mentioned all the list of the different services that government will, city, county, and federal provide, yeah, we can find criticism for almost every one of them. And even for perfect parents, we can find criticism for that. Most of us who walk outside of our door, and not really be completely aware that a lot of the functions that the different governments are playing to the quality of life that you have on the infrastructure, that we sometimes forget that we did pay for that. As imperfect as we are, but this is an attempt to perfect that which we know is not perfect, and that is healthcare.
Ike Schulman, please.
Thank you, Congressman. My question was, with the serious economic downturn that I think it's fair to say is probably the worst our nation's experienced in our lifetimes, what is the alternative available for families who are losing jobs and also their health care at the same time to avoid having major medical debts racked up if their families encounter illness? And I'm asking that as a professional. I'm a bankruptcy attorney. My business has been very good, unfortunately. But there's not a week that goes by that I don't have families come to me with significant medical debts on their list of bills. And even worse, the bankruptcy may be able to fix that, but they have no continued coverage once they've lost their income. And they're left basically with no safety net after that. So if we don't get health care this year, what's to be done for those families?
Yeah. Listen, all you people, that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Currently caps the total amount and the individual has to pay out of pocket in order for them to avoid bankruptcies. And I think that the president, when he delivered his speech, referred to a comment and a speech that Senator McCain had made, that nobody should be facing financial ruin because of the change in their health and the kinds of expense that they have to face to take care of that health.
Take care of that with,
All right, thank you. All right, Elizabeth Bethel, where are you?